So Rob, there are always watches that we like, but then there are some that I think just totally miss the mark. Maybe the brand's reading the room improperly, or something happens and we're like, what's going on with this brand? So here's one I'd like to get your reaction on. What do you think of the new Kith Heuer Formula One $1,500 quartz watches? Tell me what you think.
We almost need to put a not safe for work, header on this video. I mean, it is that bad. It is that bad. There's no other way to put it.
$1,500 for a 35 mil, very cheap quartz movement. I mean, the idea, the retro idea, the nostalgia, I don't think the idea is bad, but the price.
They missed the mark.
Yeah.
They shot their shot. They missed it. At least what they could have had. Right? I mean, they've sold, people are in the secondary market trying to get their double and triple, the MSRP.
Yeah.
So like people have obviously bought the watches. So Heuer, Tag Heuer.
It's not like they're not selling. They're selling.
Yeah, they're not just hanging out. They're not going to be 40% off, discounted or whatever.
Yeah.
But they missed their mark. They could have had something so much better.
So this is something that I've been wondering. I wonder if Tag Heuer's like, forget you crazy watch people that are always like dogging on us for ripping off the Seiko chronograph and like making fun of our logo and this and that and the other. So forget you guys.
Fan base full of guys with New Balance shoes.
Yeah.
The memes, the standard Tag Heuer,
I am wearing a Hawaiian shirt today. So.
And I did wear New Balance here, but I do not own a Heuer.
So I wonder if they're like, hey, forget you crazy watch people. We're going to focus in on a totally different demographic who doesn't know that you can buy original ones that were made in the 80s for like $400 or $500 that are still in great shape. We're going to go after someone who's more fashion savvy, someone who's younger, that has some discretionary income, that's walking through the mall and wants a sweet watch. I think that there's some validity to that. I don't know. What am I off base with that?
No, I think you've nailed it right there. But again, I go back to that they missed their mark because they could have captured that demographic, that little segment of the market, and
the watch people.
And they could have captured the watch nuts. They could have captured all the other little variants of the market.
Yeah.
Had they had a proper moon watch, a swatch moon watch, swatch whatever.
Moon swatch.
Moon swatch, there we go.
Properly priced at, say, $300?
I would have said
$500?
Yeah, I would have said, because some of them are still, or maybe are they all still encoded? I'll be honest, I didn't even look into it that much because I already knew I was out.
Yeah.
But let's just say some of them are still or whatever.
Sure.
So let's say $500, $600.
Yeah. Would you buy one if it was priced that?
Yes, I would have. I have a son, I have daughters. It's a smaller watch. I would have worn it, and I would have been like, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
How about this? Just like they did in the 80s. It's exactly what that watch was back in the 80s.
That's a good point.
It could have done it again. I would have bought it, worn it, liked it. If my daughter or son would have liked it, I would have been like, here you go.
You got me excited with that because I would totally get one for my daughter. She's been wearing some very inexpensive kids' watches.
Right.
That are frankly not that nice. But if I got her a starter quartz watch, that's exciting to me. So missed opportunity on Tag's part.
Totally missed opportunity. And again, you could have easily still captured, if not more, the younger fashion, kind of focused demographic.
Yeah.
Because it's $500.
Yeah.
Because they're spending that on a Deftones T-shirt or something like that. Like
they haven't graduated to like Hawaiian shirts and New Balance shoes yet.
Exactly. So you totally wasted it.
Yeah.
And on top of that, okay, let's say that they leave the price where it is. They wasted an opportunity by making it so limited. Why not just have a continuous run and see how long you can actually push that out?
Put them on the website. Is that such a crazy idea?
Right.
For people that don't live near a qualifying store who want to buy one.
I mean, we're still waiting on the moon swatch to hit the websites.
Yeah.
But at the same time, availability is dramatically up.
Yeah,
I've been through cities with stores in it, and I've seen
There's usually something.
Yes,
there.
I've seen almost every variation there.
Yeah.
Outside of like Neptune. But
Gotcha. What do you think about any other watches or brands that are just kind of missing the mark, failed opportunity? I don't know. I brought up this Formula One Kith Heuer. What do you think? Is there one that stands out to you?
I hate to say it because they've actually done a pretty good job, especially recently in recent times, but Christopher Ward.
Okay, I think I know where you're going with this.
Okay, which one do you think I'm going with?
I think it is the 12, but the skeleton version that's at a far higher price segment than the standard stainless steel and titanium versions that carry Solida movements.
That is exactly it. So I know it's low-hanging fruit, but to me, that is completely missing the mark. And I'm not saying that as a whole, the brand has missed the mark because, again, we've got the Bel Canto. How about this? Christopher Ward.
Bel Canto.
Exactly. Blew up the watch world because their watch makes a little dong on the top of the hour. Okay? Remove the dong and just look at that. I can't say that. The ding. That's a better way to put it. Remove the ding. We've got the 12 in just a plain 12.
Yeah.
You know, all these great watches.
Which I have to say, our local watch collector group, we're doing a custom 12. Like, we love the idea of the 12, an affordable, you know, sporty, sharp-looking piece.
Right.
But it's this titanium skeletonized version with an in-house movement that is thousands more than the entry-level one. More than double
the titanium 12 without the in-house movement.
Right.
You can talk about in-house, you can talk about finishing, but it's a hard pill to swallow to say, here's the same watch. Oh, wait, you get a little micro adjust. Yeah, you get a little stretch.
I've got to say, I do want that. That is very Vacheron Constantin-like. Yes. I had that on my overseas a couple years ago. It's a cool feature.
But for $5,000 for Christopher Ward?
Yeah.
No.
I think there's real validity to what you're saying. It's for me. Tell me if I'm off base. But I have yet to see it in person. Just from the pictures and videos that I've seen, it looks like the fit and finish is very nice. You know, the layers of the open work dial, the in-house 5-day movement. It looks nice just from a production standpoint. But the fact that I associate Christopher Ward with watches that cost between $1 and $2, maybe $3 with the Bel Canto, not pushing $5. I think it's the price jump that's most jarring for me. It's not necessarily the execution, but
I will take that and say, even like, okay, so the Bel Canto, right? You talked about upwards of $4 with that Bel Canto.
Right.
People don't have a problem with that because of how revolutionary that watch is, right?
Yeah.
The 12X or whatever they're calling it, that they've already done. They literally just did it.
It's essentially just time in seconds, right? There's not even a date, if I remember.
No,
right.
It's time in seconds, and that's it. And it's literally the same watch, but better. Of something that you can already buy that wasn't even released that long ago. Yeah. There's nothing really that says to you, wow, this is a completely new thing. And again, Christopher Ward with the Bel Canto, people are like, I can justify the affordable value proposition brand at this price because it is a truly special watch. There's not a single person out there that will tell you that the Bel Canto is not a special watch.
Well, even if you compare it to other watches that carry the same complication from great brands, they're still like $500, $700, $1,000, $500 or $700 up to $1,000 more expensive. Like Christopher Ward, that's the entry into the complication. So I can see the appeal in that. Whereas with this 12 titanium open work, it's competing with the Zenith Defy, Oris Pro Pilot.
Yeah, I was going to bring up both of those. So Oris has more quote unquote name cachet, right? Yeah. I'm not saying that it's a better watch, but it's got an in-house movement. It's again
independent brand over 100 years.
Yes, it's kind of, I would say, viewed a little bit on that different scale from Christopher Ward. Yeah. They're in ADs and all these other things. And then you go up and you're like, well, wait a second. I can get Christopher Ward or I can get a lightly used to mint condition Zenith.
defy, which I've got to say, I did own that watch. And that is one from time to time, like when I'm editing and I'm putting in old footage, I'm like, ooh, I missed that one. Like, that's a nice piece.
It was an amazing piece.
Yeah.
Again, not even close to Christopher Ward as far as name cachet, you're getting an El Primero movement in there, like all of that. Or I can get a Christopher Ward who has made a gajillion dollars off of Salida and ETA based, sub $1,000 watches. No ADs. We're value, we're value based. We don't want to get,
our markup is transparent. All
yes,
that stuff.
And again, there's nothing wrong with Christopher Ward. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
Just this watch is just way out there.
Well, one more point on this, Rob. I think every brand has to start somewhere, and maybe they want to expand their line to where they're not just a value savvy, entry level type of, luxury timepiece, but they want to go upscale a little bit and have a section of their product catalog that focuses in on the more bespoke things. So I don't want to fault them for shooting a shot, because eventually maybe they'll get there. It's just, I don't know. I mean, I kind of agree with you.
Yeah.
It's a little bit painful because I really enjoy the brand personally.
Right. And there is something to be said about wanting to improve and wanting to, offer things for everybody.
Yeah.
It's just hard, I think, for somebody to stomach swiping the credit card online, if you will, for a $5,000 watch.
Import fees and all that on top.
Exactly. And then you look at the rest of the website and it's $600, $800, all these other like
$1,200.
Yeah, $1,200. All these again, great watches, but different
tier.
Different right?
Price tier.
Gotcha. I don't know. It just seems really out of place.
Let me hit you with another one, Rob. Oh, this is another one that I like that I am actually considering buying personally. It is the Omega Constellation. They recently did the 41 millimeter size. They added that awesome tank-like bracelet, and then they put meteorite as the dial material. Omega did kind of an untreated one, which has my eye the most, but then they did some colorized versions as well. And I got excited when I saw it, but here's where I'm a little apprehensive. I look at the standard version that has like a nice leather or rubber strap that does not have meteorite. Still same case, same movement. You can get ceramic bezel on that. And the premium for the meteorite versions with the bracelet is about $3,000, which if you think about, like, you could buy a whole Christopher Ward 12 2 times over and still have left over, right?
Right.
Or you could buy 2 Kith Heuers. I mean, it's the premium for a meteorite and a bracelet. And I don't know, it seems excessive. Am I wrong? Can they justify this? Like, what do you think?
I mean, okay, they'll sure try to justify it. I mean, to me, it is excessive.
Yeah.
We have other examples of meteorite, great meteorite dials, all throughout, the micro brand markets, and they are vastly, vastly different price.
Yeah, so I've heard that Omega is using the Miona. I always have a hard time with this. Miona. I'll write it here on the screen.
I'm glad he's taking a shot at this because I don't.
I've said it right before. Miona Lusta meteorite. I've heard they're using that, which is the same meteorite that micro brands like Zelos use, Formex, and they're not charging anywhere near what Omega is doing. I recognize it's a finite material. Like, when it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
We got to rely on other meteorites, other sources, to replenish that type of material within the watch industry. But $3,000 premium.
Not even close.
It's crazy. And I'm still considering buying one, even though I know I'm just throwing money for a dial and a bracelet.
I mean, it is a special watch. It's got some great specs. It's got some history, and it's got some, visual intrigue. But I think they missed it. I think that's a definite piece you wait and catch it on the, the
used market
exactly.
later on. Let someone else take that hit.
Yes.
I'm a fan of doing that from time to time, for sure.
Yes. So I'm gonna throw one out there for you.
Okay.
And you may or may not really agree or really disagree. I don't know if there's going to be much middle ground here on this one.
All right.
Okay. King Seiko.
King Seiko.
King Seiko.
Okay. I love the idea because they're putting something in between Seiko and Grand Seiko as far as the price. And I've handled a couple. The quality is nice. But it is hard for watch collectors. I tell me if I'm off base, because the prices that they're charging, most watch guys are going to go, hey, I'm going to save more for a Grand Seiko. Like, I like the idea of a middle ground, but I think I'm in the minority there. Like, I think most people want to go Seiko or Grand Seiko and not kind of go in the middle with King Seiko.
Well, they don't want to go in the middle because there's not enough there. They're missing the mark. Seiko is missing the mark there.
Okay.
King Seiko, if you reel back history there, King Seiko went toe-to-toe with Grand Seiko.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's no slouch. There are collectors, vintage Seiko collectors, that will do Grand Seiko and say, hey, look, I mean, we've got high beat, we've got all this great tech and finishing and design and all these things that King Seiko did that directly influenced Seiko's trajectory for, the rest of the time.
Very valid point.
And so it's a big deal, at least in vintage Seiko world.
Yeah.
So they bring it back, but what do? They start churning out 6R movements for $1,000 more than something else with that same movement.
Is it 6L or 6R?
There are 6Rs in those.
Ooh, that's rough, man. Because, I don't know, we've been in the game long enough. We remember the days where you could buy a 6R15. I know that's been discontinued and updated for like $350, $400.
Yeah.
Not
all the time.
$1,800, right?
If you look, a good indicator, I think, of where... of how a watch is being received by the collective, if you will, is secondary pricing.
Yeah.
Okay. You look at those King Seikos, instantly 50%. I mean, mint condition, worn once, stickers just barely pulled off, decided I didn't like it, whatever the explanation, 50% all day, every day.
So good for me because I can score a deal, but not good for the brand.
No.
Sorry, Rob, do you think that they should go up market and really just say, hey, we used to be competitors with Grand Seiko, let us be Grand Seiko level and pricing? Or is that taking away from Grand Seiko and hurting themselves in the long run? Like, would it be successful today versus how it was 40 years ago?
That's an interesting thought, I guess, because they have really exploded Grand Seiko.
They have.
And
almost too much, some would argue.
Yes. And I mean, there is something to be said about maybe going back to how it was, in the 60s, of them competing and the best man or best company win type, mantra there. I think that there's still some value in that middle ground, but they have to sweeten it up. Why
8L movement or something?
Yes, exactly. Like, give me something that's good. Give me something that differentiates it from the alpinist, from the
Presage
exactly, something that says to me that goes, okay, outside the case design, the design itself, like, I need more. I need something more. I do think that it could just be that middle ground or that next step.
Yeah. I wonder if, and this is, I don't know, this might be indicative of Seiko's problems as a whole. They're not seen as the value brand that they used to be like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And a lot of us watch collectors, we want that old nostalgic value, and we don't want to be paying the going rate, or at least,
No, because we've seen what it does, and we've seen how they hold up. So they're still good watches, but the value is not there. Yeah. You're still getting the massive QC issues, whether it's the chaptering misalignment on a couple $1,000 Seikos and whatever. It just it frustrates me because I'm such a fanboy of them.
Oh, I am too. And I have to say, I'm a fan of Seiko. I'm a fan of Christopher Ward. I'm a fan of Omega. I am a fan of most Tag Heuer, or a lot of Tag Heuer, not all the brand. So I like these brands that we're kind of dogging on today. But I think it's important to dog on brands from time to time.
There's not a single brand out there that couldn't be quote unquote dogged on, right?
Yeah.
Rolex, we can talk another video about that puzzle piece,
Sure, sure.
everybody's got it. I hate the celebration dial.
And
I
love it.
right?
I like Hublot. You love Hublot even more.
Right.
No. So it sounds like we probably should revisit this idea in the future with other brands that maybe missed the mark or not read the room properly. And if any of you watching have a brand in mind or a model in mind, sound off in the comments section and maybe we'll cover it next time.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Cool.